The wind outside was strong that night. Sand blew across the empty plains, scratching the windows of the old outpost. Sam sat alone inside, staring at the blinking light of his power generator. It was making a strange noise again. He sighed, stood up, and walked over to check it. Sam had lived alone on this planet for 2 years. He was an engineer sent to keep the old mining systems running. The company didn't care much about the place anymore. It just wanted someone to keep the machines alive until the contract ended. Sam didn't mind. He liked the quiet. No one bothered him. No one asked questions. He was used to the silence. That night, the sky was filled with meteors. Tiny streaks of light flashed across the black sky. Sam stood outside watching the show. Then he saw something different. One light moved slower than the others. It grew brighter. Then it changed direction straight toward the ground. A loud crash echoed from the east, maybe a mile away. Sam didn't wait. He grabbed his jacket, a flashlight, and his scanner. Something had fallen, and it wasn't a meteor. The walk was rough. Sharp rocks and shifting sand made it hard to move fast. But Sam kept going. His boots crunched the ground. The scanner beeped as he got closer. Signal was weak, but real. Then he saw it. A small escape pod lay in the dirt, smoke rising from the back. The metal was bent and burned. One of the doors had been torn open. Sam moved slowly, unsure what he'd find. Bodies, fuel leaks, weapons. He found her. A figure lay half inside the pod. Small, thin, not human. She had pale purple skin and soft dark hair that fell across her face. Her clothes were torn, and one arm was bleeding. Her eyes opened slowly, glowing faintly in the dark. She looked scared to speak. Sam held up his hands. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said gently. "Can you understand me?" She didn't answer, but she didn't move away either. He took a step forward. She flinched, but then her eyes closed again. She was weak, hurt. He couldn't leave her there. Sam carried her all the way back. It took almost an hour. Her body was light, but the cold wind made every step harder. Once inside, he laid her on his bed, cleaned her wounds, and wrapped her arm. She never said a word, but her breathing grew steady. He gave her water. She drank slowly. Her fingers trembled. "You're safe here," he said, more to himself than to her. He pulled up a chair beside the bed and watched her sleep. In the morning, he expected her to be gone, but she was since. Sam woke to the smell of something cooking. He rushed to the kitchen, confused. She stood there, still silent, cooking something from his supply kit. She looked at him once, then returned to her task. It was like she had always been there. He watched her. She moved carefully, like she didn't want to break anything. Her eyes stayed low. She didn't speak, but she wasn't afraid either. Sam tried to ask her name. "Do you have a name?" he said, pointing to himself. "I'm Sam." She looked at him, then touched her chest lightly. "Alia," she whispered. Her voice was soft, almost like wind. Sam smiled. "Nice to meet you, Alia." She nodded. He figured she would leave soon. Maybe she had called for help. Maybe someone would come for her. She just needed a place to rest, but she stayed. She sat near the window that night, watching the stars. Sam worked on one of the broken drones, glancing at her now and then. She didn't say much. Sometimes she pointed at a tool or brought him parts. She understood machines better than he expected. Days passed. Sam kept waiting for a ship, signal, anything. Nothing came. Alia made herself part of the outpost. She cleaned, organized his storage, even fixed a broken heating pipe without being asked. She didn't act like a guest. She didn't act like she was hiding either. But she didn't talk much about herself. One night, as they sat eating together, Sam asked, "Why haven't you left?" Alia looked at him. Her eyes were calm, but something sad moved behind them. "No one's coming," she said. "How do you know?" She didn't answer. He wanted to ask more, but something in her voice made him stop. Sam didn't press her again. He thought about it as he lay in bed that night. Who was she? What was she running from? Was she dangerous? Was she lost? He didn't know, but she didn't seem like a threat. She never touched a weapon, never tried to harm him. She helped him more than any crew member ever had. Maybe she just needed a place. She'd leave tomorrow, he told himself. But morning came, and she was still there. The morning sun peeked through the dusty windows of the outpost. Sam opened his eyes slowly and sat up. His room was quiet, but he could hear soft movement coming from the other side of the hall. Al was still here. She moved like a shadow, light, on her feet and quiet as the wind. Sam stepped out of his room and found her sitting at the workbench. His old drone parts were spread out across the table. She had already put half of them back together. "You're working early," he said, rubbing his eyes. Alia glanced at him. The pieces were scattered. "I organized them." Sam smiled. "You did more than organize. A drone's legs haven't worked in 6 months." She gave a small nod, then returned to her task. Sam stood nearby, unsure what to say. It was strange. She wasn't acting like a visitor anymore. She hadn't asked for help or tried to contact anyone. She just stayed, like she belonged. During breakfast, they sat across from each other in silence. Alia ate slowly, careful with each movement. She always seemed like she was studying everything, how Sam used his tools, how he prepared food, how he spoke. "How long were you out there before I found you?" Sam asked softly. Alya stared at her cup. "Long enough?" He waited for more, but she said nothing else. Sam didn't push her later that day. While Sam repaired the outside signal antenna, Alia appeared beside him, holding a panel he forgot to grab. She didn't speak, just handed it to him and sat down on a nearby rock. Her eyes scanned the open land like she was searching for something far away. "Expecting someone?" he asked. "No," she answered, "just checking." As they worked, Sam noticed how well she understood machines. Even without being shown, she figured out how his systems worked. She adjusted settings, rerouted power, and fixed a broken vent line like she had done it all before. "Were you an engineer?" he asked. "I learned things," she said quietly. She never gave full answers, but she never lied either. Sam began to realize she didn't talk much because she didn't want to say the wrong thing. It's not because she had nothing to say. That evening, the wind picked up. Dust blew against the outpost's side walls. Sam closed the outside shutters, then checked the scanners one more time. Nothing on the radar. The sky was empty, just like the last few days. Alia sat by the window, watching the storm roll in. "Do you miss your people?" Sam asked her. Dadalai didn't answer right away. She touched the glass with her fingers. "I don't know who my people are anymore." Sam was quiet. Her voice held something heavy like an old wound. "You don't have to tell me," he said, "but if you want to talk, I'm here." She looked at him. Her eyes were soft, almost grateful. "Thank you." They spent the rest of the evening fixing a power cell. Laya worked silently beside him, passing tools and adjusting circuits. Sam noticed that every time she smiled, it was small, like she wasn't sure she was allowed to. Before sleeping, Sam made her a blanket bed in the side room. It was warmer and had better lighting. She paused at the door, looking at him for a moment. "Why are you kind to me?" she asked. Sam blinked. "Because you needed help. Most don't." "Well, I'm not most." She nodded once, then stepped inside. Sam lay awake in his room, staring at the ceiling. Something about Alia made him feel different. She wasn't just a stranger now. She had become a quiet part of his routine, like the humming of the machines or the wind outside. But deep inside, he still wondered, who was she really? The next morning, he found her sweeping the main hall. The floors were cleaner than he had seen in months. She had also sorted his storage crates by type and size. His workshop had never looked this neat. "You didn't have to do all this," he said. "I wanted to," she replied. "You saved me. This is my thank you." Sam felt a strange warmth in his chest. Not just for her words, but for the way she said them, like she truly meant it. Suddenly, a loud beep came from the scanner. Sam rushed to the console. An incoming ship. His heart skipped. "Someone's here," he said. Finally, Alia stood behind him, silent. Her eyes narrowed slightly. The signal showed a small patrol vessel. Galactic Union class. Standard scans. Nothing hostile. Sam turned to her. Maybe they got your distress call? Alia stepped back. I didn't send one. The ship began to descend nearby. Sam looked at her again. Are you in trouble? She didn't answer, but the look on her face told him everything. The patrol ship landed with a soft hiss just outside the outpost. Its smooth metal body reflected the weak sun. Sam stood at the door, watching as two figures stepped out. They wore dark gray uniforms with silver shoulder badges, the mark of the Galactic Union. One of them raised a hand in greeting. Engineer Sam Parker. Sam nodded slowly. That's me. We're here on a scan sweep. There was a recent energy spike in this region. Any unusual activity? Sam kept his face calm. He glanced over his shoulder. Alia was gone. She had slipped away quietly the moment the ship appeared. Yeah, he replied. Meteor shower hit 2 nights ago. Something crashed nearby. The officer checked a small handheld device. We tracked that, yes. But we're also looking for something else. Or rather, someone else. The second officer stepped forward. Her tone was sharper. Classified entity escaped from a research vessel. It may have landed somewhere in this system. Sam raised an eyebrow. You think it came here? The signal disappeared near the zone. Have you seen anyone unusual? Sam shrugged. Just rocks and broken machines. Nothing new. The officers exchanged a glance. We'll run a quick scan of your outpost. Standard check. Nothing personal. Sam's heart tightened, but he nodded. Sure, go ahead. He followed them as they walked through the halls. One officer checked the rooms while the other scanned the power lines and panels. Their equipment made soft beeping sounds as they moved. Sam tried to stay calm. There was no sign of Alia. Not in the side room, not in the storage unit, not in the vents. It was like she had disappeared. After a full sweep, the officers returned to the landing pad. No life forms detected except you, the lead one said. Sam forced a small laugh. Told you, just me and the dust. They nodded and thanked him for his time. The ship lifted off, leaving a trail of warm air behind. Sam watched it disappear into the sky. As soon as it was gone, he went back inside and closed all the doors. Alia, he called softly. No answer. He checked the basement. Nothing. Then he heard a soft knock from inside the old supply unit. He opened the door. And there she was, curled between crates, breathing quietly. Her eyes met his. They're gone, he said. Alia stepped out slowly. Thank you for not telling them. Sam didn't speak right away. Instead, he sat down at the workbench and stared at the blinking light of his old console. Who were they talking about, Alia? He asked finally. Was it you? She stood across the room, arms wrapped around herself. Yes. Sam looked at her. What are you? I'm not a soldier, not a weapon, she said softly. But to them, I'm a mistake. She moved closer, her voice almost a whisper. I was made for study, created, tested, watched. I escaped because I didn't want to be caged anymore. Sam tried to understand. So you're not born? Not in the way you mean? But I still feel. I still dream. He stared at the ground. Why come here? Because this place was quiet. No signals, no questions, just peace. Sam rubbed his face. He wanted to believe her. Everything in him said she was telling the truth. But it was hard to ignore the warning from the patrol. They said you're dangerous, he said slowly. Alla looked at him, not with anger, but sadness. Do you think I am? Sam thought of the days she spent fixing machines, the quiet kindness she showed. The way she had smiled when he gave her a warm blanket. No, he said at last. I don't. They stood in silence for a while. Later, as the night returned, Sam cooked dinner. Alia sat near the window again, watching the stars. Her eyes were distant, but calmer than before. They'll come again, she said. I know. You should turn me in. It would be safer. Sam shook his head. I don't care about safer. Alia turned to him. Why? Because I've lived alone for 2 years, he said, looking down at his food. And in just a few days, you made this place feel like a home. Aaliyah said nothing, but a small tear ran down her cheek. Sam didn't ask why. The next morning, Sam made a decision. He shut off the outpost's long-range beacon, buried the black box from Alia's escape pod. He even moved her hiding space deeper underground, behind heavy panels only he could open. She watched him work without asking questions. When it was done, she simply said thank you. Sam looked at her and smiled. You don't have to leave. Alia blinked. You're sure? I thought you'd be gone by morning, he said. But you never really left. And she smiled, really smiled for the first time. The days that followed were calm, almost peaceful. Sam and Alia worked side by side like they had done this for years. The outpost felt different now. It wasn't just a station with metal walls and cold machines. It was alive. She brought life into it. And Sam didn't realize how much he had missed the feeling of having someone around. Alia adjusted the water system, graded the heat controls, and even built a small greenhouse using old storage crates. The plants inside grew faster than they should have, Sam noticed, but didn't ask. He had started to learn that Alia could do things beyond human understanding. But he also knew she used her abilities gently, never to harm. One evening, Sam sat near the fire unit, eating warm stew. Leah sat across from him, holding a small circuit board in her hands. You never told me how you learned all this, Sam said. Aaliyah didn't look up. They made me smart. The ones who made you. Yes. They tested how fast I could learn. How fast I could feel pain. How fast I could forget it. Sam's smile faded. He placed his bowl aside. You don't have to talk about it. I want to, she said softly. You should know. She looked up at him, her voice calm. I wasn't the only one. There were others like me. Made in labs. Studied. We were told we were special, but we were never free. Some broke. Some lost their minds. I watched one of them scream for days until they erased her memories. Sam felt cold all over. That's awful. Alia nodded. I ran the first chance I got. I didn't want to be next. Sam didn't know what to say. Her words weren't angry, just quiet, heavy, like she had carried them for a long time. How did you escape? He asked. I hid inside a cargo ship, stayed quiet until it landed near this system. Then I took a pod and crashed here. Sam leaned back. And you chose my outpost. Your signal was weak, forgotten quiet, I thought. Be you were. Like me? Sam laughed once. Forgotten? Yeah, I guess I was. Leia looked at him for a moment. But you're not anymore. He didn't reply, but her words stayed in his mind all night. A week later, the sky changed. Sam was outside checking the solar panels when he noticed it. A strange glow above the clouds, not natural, and not from the sun. He rushed inside and scanned the air. Signal masked, low power, but nearby. A ship was cloaked and hovering in orbit. They found us, Alia said from behind him. How? Do you know? Because I feel them? Sam looked at her, and we run. No, she said. They'll chase. You can't protect me if we're always running. Sam clenched his jaw. Then what? Alia stepped forward, her eyes calm, her voice steady. I'll face them. Sam stood up. No, they'll take you, hurt you. Maybe, she said, but maybe they'll listen this time. You think they'll change? I think you made me believe change is possible. Her words hit him hard. Sam looked out the window. The glow grew brighter. The ship was coming lower. Elwha stepped closer. If I go out, maybe they'll stop searching. Sam shook his head. I won't. Let them take you. Alia placed her hand on his. I won't let them hurt you either. A deep silence filled the room. Then, without another word, Alia walked toward the door. But before she could leave, Sam grabbed her arm. Wait. She turned. Sam reached into his locker and pulled out a small data stick.
No.
This has everything you've done here. The fixes, the upgrades, your logs. If they take you, give this to them. Show them you're more than a file in their system. Alia took it, her fingers shaking slightly. Thank you. Sam nodded. Just come back. Outside, the wind blew hard. The ship uncloaked above the outpost, a sleek black vessel with no markings. A beam of light fell to the ground, and 3 figures stepped out in full armor. ALYA stood still as they approached. Sam watched from the shadows, heart pounding. "You are Unit A-23, one of them said. "You're to return with us." Alia held up the data stick. "I have something to show you." They didn't take it. "You are to return now," the voice repeated. "I'm not property," she said. "I'm a person." The soldiers moved closer. Sam started to step forward. But Alia looked at him once and shook her head. "I know what I am," she said to the soldiers. "But I also know what I can become." The lead figure paused. "We're not authorized to," then. The ship's lights flickered. The engines went silent. Something in the ship's systems had stopped. Elwa turned to Sam and whispered something. "Too soft to hear?" Then she walked forward into the light. Sam felt his heart crack. The ship took her, and then it disappeared into the sky. Just like that, she was gone. But when Sam walked back inside, the lights came on by themselves. The screen lit up with a message, "This isn't goodbye." Sam stared at the glowing message on his screen. "This isn't goodbye." He read it again and again. He touched the words with his fingers, as if trying to feel her voice. His heart felt heavy, but somewhere deep inside, a small warmth remained. Alia had left, but not in silence, not without a trace. For the next few days, the outpost felt empty again. The halls were too quiet. The lights felt colder. The machines still worked, but they didn't hum with the same rhythm. Even the wind outside sounded lonelier than before. Sam tried to keep busy. He checked the generator, cleaned the air filters, walked outside to scan the area like he always did. But everything reminded him of her. A missing bowl in the kitchen. A blanket folded neatly near the side room. The small greenhouse she had built still glowed with soft, healthy light. The plants inside were growing strong, too strong. Sam noticed that one of the roots had shaped itself around a broken pipe and sealed the leak. "You did that, didn't you?" he whispered, standing near the leaves. The plant swayed slightly, though there was no wind inside. One morning, a message appeared on his console. It wasn't from the Galactic Union. The code was strange, part machine, part organic. Sam stared at it, confused. The message was short. "Test complete. Result: human response. Acceptable." His eyes narrowed. A test, he checked the signal. It wasn't from deep space, it was from orbit. Something was nearby, but cloaked again. His heart began to race. Hours passed with no change. Sam stayed inside, watching the radar. Then, just as the sun began to set, the same message returned, but now with an image. Ali's face, alive.com, and smiling beneath it. A new line blinked. "Permission requested to return." Sam laughed out loud, tapped the screen quickly. "Permission granted. Always." By nightfall, a soft hum filled the sky. A small ship descended, not like the one that had taken her. This one was different. Sleeker, smaller, like it had been made just for her. Sam rushed outside as the door opened. Alice stepped down. She looked different. Not in a bad way, but stronger. Her clothes were cleaner, glowing softly at the edges. A band of silver wrapped around her arm like a badge or a symbol. But her eyes were the same, soft, curious, and full of something warm. "You came back," Sam said. Alia smiled. "I told you, never really left." He walked up to her slowly. He didn't hug her, he wasn't sure if he should. But she stepped forward and gently placed her hand on his chest. "They didn't take me as a prisoner," she said. "They took me to see." "See what?" "What I had become." She looked around at the outpost. "This place changed me. And when I gave them your data stick, they saw it too." Sam blinked. "They let you go?" "Not just that. They listened." Alia explained that the Galactic Union had begun secret programs long ago to test non-human intelligence. Beings like her were built, studied, and forgotten when the results weren't what they wanted. But Alia's escape changed everything. Her time with Sam proved something new, something they couldn't ignore. They wanted proof that beings like me could feel more than instructions, she said, and I gave it to them. Sam sat on a crate nearby, taking it all in. So, what happens now? Alia sat beside him. They ended the program, releasing the others. Sam looked at her in shock. All of them? She nodded. Those who can survive outside the labs, some will need help, others will go find their own paths. Sam leaned back. And you? Alia turned to face him. I could have gone anywhere, but came here. Sam felt his chest tighten again. So, you're staying? She smiled. If you'll let me. He laughed softly. This place was dead before you showed up. Alia tilted her head. Then let's bring it to life. That night, they sat under the stars. The wind was calm. Sky above was filled with more lights than usual. Sam guessed some of them were the others, like Ala, finding their own homes. Their own peace. Alia leaned against the railing beside him. When I first came here, she said, I thought you'd send me away. Sam nodded. I thought you'd be gone by morning. She chuckled. Funny how wrong we both were. He turned to her. You're not just some test subject, you're Alia. In this outpost, my quiet little broken world, it feels real. Now, she looked up at him. Because you made space for me. Sam was quiet for a moment. Then he asked, what do you want now? Alia thought about it. To build, to grow, to live. Not as someone hiding, but as someone who chooses. Sam stood and held out his hand. Then let's start. Alia took his hand. And for the first time, Sam didn't feel alone anymore. Weeks passed, and the outpost was no longer the same. What was once a lonely, forgotten station had now become something new, something better. Life had returned to its walls, not just through the machines and plants, but through the quiet friendship. Between Sam and Alia, they worked together every day. Sam showed her how to reroute power for longer efficiency, and she taught him tricks to connect systems in ways no human had ever tried. Under her hands, even the old machines started acting smarter, more responsive, almost like they had a new mind inside them. The greenhouse became their favorite place. Alia often sat there during the mornings, tending to glowing blue flowers and talking softly to the leaves. Sam didn't understand what she said, but he noticed the plants always moved slightly when she did. He called it her magic, but she just smiled and said, they listen because I care. One evening, as they watched the sunset, Sam said, I think we should name the outpost. Alia turned to him, curious. Why? Because it's no longer just an outpost, he replied. It's home now. She thought for a moment. What about Haven? Sam smiled.
Yeah.
Haven. They placed the name above the door the next morning. Simple metal letters, carefully shaped by Sam's tools and polished by Alia's hands. It gleamed in the sunlight, and somehow the building looked prouder. But peace didn't last forever, eh? Message arrived. What? Not from the Galactic Union, but from someone else. An unknown ship had entered orbit, broadcasting no ID. It hovered for hours, then dropped a small probe outside the base before vanishing. Sam examined the probe carefully. It was old, battered, and carried a strange message. The escapee must be returned. If not, others will be sent. Sam stared at the message in silence. Alia stood behind him, her face unreadable. Who sent this? He asked. Ayla Weiss' voice was low. Not the Union. It's not scientists. Someone worse, she explained. That long ago, before the Galactic Union controlled her creators, a private group had funded the research. These people wanted control, not knowledge. They believed that beings like Alia were weapons, tools to sell, not lives to respect. When she escaped, they thought she was lost forever. But now they had found her. Will they come? Aim asked. Yes, she said, and they won't ask nicely. Sam stood and grabbed a wrench. Then we prepare. For the next 2 days, Sam and Alia turned Haven into a stronghold. They reinforced the walls, added shielding to the roof, and set traps around the outer zone. Sam rewired the old mining drones, turning them into guards. Alia upgraded the sensors, blending human tech with her strange energy. They worked without rest. On the third night, the stars lit up. 3 ships dropped from orbit, dark and fast. Sam grabbed his scanner. They're coming. Alia stepped beside him. Her eyes glowed softly, but her hands were calm. They won't take me, she said. The ships landed near the edge of the canyon. Figures in black armor stepped out tall, silent and armed. They moved like shadows. No words, no warnings. But Haven was ready. The traps triggered first loud blasts that knocked out their scanners. Drones flew in, sending blinding lights and loud pulses. Sam stayed inside, watching the screens and guiding the defenses. HFY, however, walked out. She stood in front of the outpost like a silent statue, eyed the attackers' aimed weapons, but they hesitated. I am not yours, she said firmly. I never was. One of them stepped forward. You belong to us. You are property. Alia raised her hand. Energy swirled around her fingers. Not fire, not lightning. Something softer but stronger. I belong to no one, she replied, but I choose to protect this place. And this man. The attackers moved in but the ground. Beneath them shifted. The roots from the greenhouse now spread through the soil, wrapped around their legs. They struggled. They fired, but nothing hit her. Sam stepped out beside her. She's not alone. Together they fought not with firepower, but with unity. Haven defended itself. Drones attacked with perfect timing. Machines Alia had touched moved like they had minds of their own, in the end. The attackers fled. One ship burned as it rose, damaged by the drones. The others disappeared into the sky. Alia's glow faded. She knelt down, tired, but not broken. Sam caught her before she fell. You're okay, he whispered. She nodded, resting her head on his shoulder. They won't come again. They saw what we are. The next day, Sam sat on the roof, watching the sky. Lia sat beside him, holding a flower from the greenhouse. You could have run, he said. So could you, she replied. But we stayed. She smiled. Because this is home. Sam looked at her and said, When you first arrived, I thought you'd be gone by morning. Alia leaned against him, but I never really left. He smiled and whispered, I hope you never do. And as the sun rose over Haven, the world felt whole. 2 souls, 1 human, 1 created had found each other, and together they stayed.